What is going on? What is going on? What is going on? It's your boy Julian Stoutt, licensed personal trainer, licensed PE teacher, world record powerlifter, special education teacher, here to take the fear out of fitness. We're about to take off and class is in session. So today is May the 6th, 2026, and we are at the tail end of a snowstorm and in the beginnings of a deep freeze, yes, in May. So with that being said, last year, literally 1 year ago today, it snowed. I was talking to some of my colleagues earlier in the year, this year, because winter was very warm for us, and I told them this was going to happen. Get ready. You're not going to miss it. It's gonna hit in May, right? And sure enough, as I'm sitting here, it is in May, and yes, that is Colorado for you, right? So, needless to say, you see the title in the thumbnail, and it is important that you guys see it for what it is. This is the time where we break plateaus, because fitness truly is in the mind, right? It is really important that you guys really understand what that is, right? So the deal is, why do you think that many people are unsuccessful in their training? Is it because they're lazy? Is it because that's who they are? Or is it something else? Go ahead and give me an answer to that specific question if you dare. Now, so what sucks? I want to know. I want to know what in your mind sucks, because this is where the rubber meets the road in some cases. Because a lot of times people think that it's just laziness. Some people just think that's who I am. That's what I'm not supposed to be in shape. But fitness of the mind it's not willpower literally, right? It's not that you have willpower literally, right? It's willpower is the result of discipline and a plan and implementation of that plan, right? That is what real willpower is, right? Everybody thinks that, oh, I just have willpower, and it doesn't work that way. Sometimes it's chemically induced, right? So what I mean by that is this. If you are not eating the right foods, your brain is not going to be right. And if your brain isn't going to be right, this is tying into last week's show with ADHD. If your brain isn't going to be right, how in the world do you think your body's going to be right? Because where the brain goes, the body follows, right? It's not, even though your body moves from the house to the car, from the car to the job, and then from the job back into the car, and then the car back into the house, it's where your mind tells you to go. Sure, there's motivating factors like, I got to get paid, I got to eat, I got to live. But all in all, it's your brain that makes you go, right? And going back, like I said, tying into last week's show, where we discussed how ADHD affects the brain, I have to tell you, I sincerely have to tell you, ever since I did that show, I went back and revised my diet. I have not skipped breakfast. Number one. Number two, my diet is not laden with sugar and caffeine. The life of a teacher. I'm telling you now, caffeine and sugar is the life of a teacher. This is why so many of your teachers who used to be smoking back when you were kids, when you see them about 10, 15 years later into teaching, they're not quite what they used to be, right? Both male and female. Because caffeine, sugar, and then whatever the school provides at the time. And I have to say, since making my own oatmeal in the morning, I pre-make my own oatmeal. So I made enough to last for about two days, maybe 3. I made enough to last about 3 days. And I not only do that, but I put a little bit of coconut sugar in it. Put some coconut sugar, I put some sunflower seeds, and I put some pumpkin seeds, and I mix it all up. And I usually try to add a banana to it because that makes it taste amazing. But I do all of that, and I have to tell you, I haven't had a need for caffeine nor sincere levels of sugar once I've done that and I've taken my vitamins along with my NMN, right? All of that comes into place. So when we start talking about willpower, sometimes willpower is not of your own volition. Sometimes willpower is the design of your universe, right? You want to say, let's say you want to stop eating so much sugar, because unfortunately, sugar is unavoidable. Everything in this universe is trying to kill you. It sustains you, but it also is trying to kill you if you don't know what to watch out for. And when you create this universe, you have biological entities living inside of your stomach, leaching chemicals into your bloodstream to convince you to eat more sugar. You have people hacking your brain to make you further connect to food that may not be good for you. You are fighting at every turn and you don't realize you're getting hit. Death by 1,000 cuts. So when you turn around and you say you have no willpower, that's not necessarily true. The truth of the matter is that when you have these moments where you feel defeated, it's because you have no protection from what is out there influencing your brain. You have no protection on the inside of your gut. You have no protection in your mind, and you damn sure don't have any protection outside of yourself. And what I mean by that is that it's not, and this is not an affront to you out there. This is literally the design. And once you're aware of the design, then it makes it that much easier to resist. Now, clearly, this is, you see the name in the comment section, in the chat. I'm going to ask a legitimate question. And this is strictly for the women. It's going to be a little off topic, but it's going to get back on, I promise you. How often was or is sex being offered to you since you could remember? Let's say on a day-to-day basis, from the time you could remember it was being offered to you, how often was it being offered to you on a daily basis? Just throw the number out there, right? 1, 2, 4, 7, 8, 10 times, 11, 100, 500, whatever that number is. Whatever that number is. Yes, let's go with that. Since 12. Well, how often daily was it being thrown at you? Right? So I want to know what that number is on a daily basis, ladies. What is that number? Because for guys, it's 0. We don't, it's very rare that it happens, all right? But this is where, and this is why men are not as good at it. Men are not as good at it as women to turn it down, which is why it is technically more egregious when it does happen, right? However, to prove my point, you don't have to answer this, ladies. I don't want y'all to answer this part into the ether. But just keep in mind, how often did you say yes? Keep that in mind. Of all the times that has been thrown at you, just thrown at you, to quote Chris Rock, can I help you with some, you know, how many times have you said no? Or how many times have you said yes? So you're telling me something that is enjoyable with the right person being offered to you daily by men and or women of various shapes and sizes, various levels of attraction. How many times did you say yes? And once you're in a relationship, I don't want you to, tally up those numbers, because obviously you're going to say yes to your spouse more than you are going to say to John Q. Public. But I'm talking about John Q. Public. How often did you say yes? I am almost certain there's not as many yeses as there were no's. So that shows you that willpower is not necessarily of the quote-unquote mind, because once it was offered to you once, especially to somebody that was not desirable, you easily formulated a plan on how you were going to say no. You either said it yourself, you had your girlfriend say it, you had your brother say it, you weaponized your parents. Any way you could to say no, you said no. Right? So, and I'm sure plenty of them were in your level of attraction that you could have said yes. So let me put it like this. If he or she were a cheesecake, meaning the level of desire that one would have for cheesecake, or for bundt cake, or for Snickers bars, or for potato chips, or for beer, or for anything that you think is delicious and luxuriously enjoyable. How many of those people did you say no to? Did you eventually say yes? Possibly. But how many times did you say no? Or how many times did you how long did you keep yourself away from that cheesecake? Or from that beer? Or from that glass of wine? Or from that burger? Or from that pizza? Or from those potato chips? How long did you keep yourself from it before you had one? Quite a while, right? You didn't just go, you didn't just see some cheesecake floating by you and then just decide I'm just going to eat it right there on the spot. You turn around and was like, hey, I got to make some things happen before I even think about doing that. Now's not the time. For most of us, at least. Right? So, was that willpower, or was that a system set up and designed by you to prevent you from doing silly stuff on a daily basis, making stupid decisions on a daily basis? Because I assure you, you are protecting yourself from that. But when you look at food, because of the way we all look at food, we don't put the same type of energy into food because we are under the assumption it's supposed to sustain us, right? In this day and age, sex could kill you. Sex could ruin you. Gonorrhea and chlamydia is the least of your worries now, right? So you don't jump on every dude or every chick because they're cute and they look delicious, right? So why can we not formulate the same mindset when it comes to food? Because I'm assuring you, I'm sure Magic Johnson could tell you that that pretty little thing that he laid up with one night is the one that gave him the H, okay? Is the one that gave him the H. It wasn't a bowl of peas that gave him the H. You know what I'm saying? It was a piece of cheesecake that gave him the H. It's the cheesecake that almost killed him. It's the burger with everything on it that almost killed him. Luckily for him, there were interventions created over time that sustains him. But think about it. If you thought about food that is trying to kill you, if you thought of food in the same way that you think of human beings, I guarantee you, you wouldn't do some of the things that you do in order to avoid being fit. Going to the gym. If you can't get to the gym, just doing something physical is important. Doesn't have to be elaborate. Do some Tai Chi. Do some movements, some body movements, some light steps to the left and to the right, and some squats, air squats. You don't have to get down all the way low. You just got to bend the knees and stand up. And then as you get stronger, get deeper. Start meditating, start focusing better. Start looking at things from that perspective as opposed to just looking at it as, I suck. Because unfortunately, when you say you suck, you're going to continue to suck. I'm not telling you this because this is not being mean, but it is. Because it's about mindset, encouragement, accountability, and nutrition. Always. However, on the flip side, the ability to do this. So what's the plan? Remember one show, a few shows back, I talked about just going to the gym. Don't even go inside. My brother-in-law is the one who suggested that, right? And at first I was like, that's kind of dumb. But then I thought about it and I was like, that's actually kind of brilliant. Because at the end of the day, you went to the gym. And as long as you keep saying, I went to the gym, eventually your brain is going to accept the fact that you went to the gym. And you cannot chastise yourself and talk down on yourself about what you did. I went to the gym. Did you not? Yes, I did. Did you work out? Now that's a whole nother story. Right. However, if asked, did you go to the gym? The answer is yes, because you pulled into the parking lot, you sat your butt down there, and you waited for a little bit. You stared at people going in and out for a little while, and then you went about your business. Better than not going. At this point in time, yes, it'll be a waste of your gas, and gas is $4.89 a gallon. You don't want to waste your gas going to the gym and saying you just went and not do anything. So there's extra motivation for you, right? there's a cost-benefit analysis of whether or not you should go inside and actually do something. Because guess what? Taking you behind all the way to the gym, burning out however many gallons of gas to get there and back is going to be a huge pain in the tuchus to your wallet. Like I've told people before, like I'm telling you right now, as a personal trainer, I leverage my payments to make you come to the gym. Why wouldn't I? You pay me an exorbitant amount of money for the month already. You're scheduled to be here at this time, and you're not here. You're making my job so much harder. I just made a handful of cash from you for the month. It's already in my bank account. I'm going to be there. You chose not to. So one of two things is going to happen, and I'm okay with either one. Either you're going to start coming to the gym, or you're going to stop. But you're going to realize you're playing yourself by not coming. Eventually, you're going to feel it. Eventually, you're going to be like, nah, freak that. I'm not doing that. Or you're going to be like, you know what? This is going to be the last damn time I don't go to the gym and this fool keeps taking my money. Because I tell you, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to front. I'm not going to play games with you. I'm going to tell you straight to your face. You're making me money, but every time I charge you by the hour, I did it. You literally gave me free money. Whether it's 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 120 dollars a session. You gave me a free day. You gave me that much dollars an hour for free. You gave me that much dollars for free. Thank you. I didn't even have to show up. Because you called me and told me you're not going to make it. And that's not because you had some emergency. Because usually when you have emergencies like that and you communicate with me ahead of time, I usually try to find an alternative schedule for you to meet with me so that way you don't miss your session. Ah, you thought I was one of those, huh? No, I will. If you called me, if we're scheduled to meet today at 7 o'clock and you called me Wednesday morning and said, hey, Julian, check this out. I'm not going to be able to make it because my job is calling me in for a meeting and it's going to be running well into our time together. And it's non-negotiable. I cannot miss it. I'm going to be like, well, what time can you come? Can you come at 8 o'clock? Can you come tomorrow at 7 o'clock? If it's available, right? If it's not available, can you come at tomorrow at 8 or tomorrow at 9? Whatever time that was, can you come at that time? And then when you say yes, no, maybe so, then if you say no, I can't make it at all until our next scheduled appointment, okay, you gave me free money. But if you called me ahead of time, I'm the type of person that will look to earn my paycheck first. I will give alternative options to you so that way we can meet up. Even if I have to show up on a Sunday, I'll do it. But I will make sure that that works for you first. But then after that, if you tell me no, I'm not going to make it. Or if you call me last minute and tell me you can't make it, I'm at the gym already. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to do my thing. Depending on if there's another client, I'll wait for my next client. And if I don't have any more clients, I am done. Go home. So, fitness of the mind is a huge umbrella of things. It is not simply what you thought, because dopamine affects how you think. And if the dopamine hit comes stronger with the thought of chewing on a slice of pizza more than saving your life, well, guess what? The pizza will win. If the bacteria in your gut is stronger with influencing you to consume sugary foods, then the bacteria will win. But if you turn around and create a nutritional barrier around you, watch what happens. If you actively avoid putting these foods in front of you, watch how much easier it is to say no thank you. If you start attacking your gut by eating higher fiber foods, by having probiotics in your food or mixed into your food, and also exercising regularly 4 times a week. You shouldn't be just going once or twice. I don't want to hear that crap. Once or twice ain't going to work. Now, if it's a recreational activity, once or twice a week is fine. But for your everyday lifestyle training, you need to be in the gym at least 4 times a week. And that is non-negotiable. You're not getting around it. I don't care how much you think you can, or anybody that promises you that you can do it by just doing it this much and this often, you cannot. Minimum 4. Find a physical hobby that you can do without necessarily hurting yourself. Sometimes you're going to get hurt. I box, so my wrist gets hurt. I might get punched in the face, and it hurts. I play basketball. I might twist my ankle, roll my knee, tear a labrum. It comes with the territory. However, not doing any of those things is not good either. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if you do not create the habit of activity, all you're going to do is lay up, watch YouTube outside of me, and do nothing. And you just live in an existence, and you don't enjoy life. Because I'm here to tell you, there are people in wheelchairs that enjoy life. They're not sitting in their houses waiting for the Grim Reaper to show up. They're out there doing stuff. Their legs may not work, or their legs might be missing, or a leg might be missing, but damn it, they get up and do stuff because they're not waiting for the Grim Reaper. That is a mindset shift. You have to be able to say to yourself, you have to be able to say to yourself, it ends today. It ends today. I don't give a damn what you got going on. Your life should be more valuable than anything else going on in your life. More important than your wife, more important than your husband, more important than your children, more important than your mother and your father, your sister, your brothers. You need to look at life and think of it as important. And the things that sustains life is activity. You cannot exist without it. At least not meaningfully. You can't. I'm not agile. Well, get agile. I can get agile. I can get smarter. I can get faster. I can get stronger. I can get quicker. I can hit harder. But I have to work for it. If this is what you want, do you want to be able to perform at a certain level? Do you want to be able to get off the toilet? I had a client that literally said, I want to get in shape so that I don't become my mom. Because my mom, I have to help her get off the toilet. She's so frail and fragile that she has no muscular strength to get off the toilet. Something that simple. I can't get off the toilet. Something as simple as I don't want to be person X in my life. I don't want to exist in that world. I've seen it. I've watched the movie and I don't like the ending. And as a result of not liking the ending, you now are going to start putting things in place to prevent you from falling off the wagon and falling by the wayside. That's God's honest truth. Even me, right now, you know, my wrist is killing me. Right now, my elbows are actually well and I can work out better. But doing certain exercises hurts. And you know what I do? Wrap that sumbitch up. That's all I can do. Wrap it up and keep working. Or if I feel like the numbness in my hands it's going to make me hurt myself worse, I'll start punching with my left hand and only my left hand. And I'll work and I'll work and I'll work. But better than doing nothing and going, oh, I got a boo-boo on my wrist. You know, it's more important for me to do something than to not do something. Will things come up every now and then? Sure. I had a function. I box usually every Friday until school is out. I box every Friday until school's out, and one of these Fridays ago, a couple of Fridays ago, I didn't go because there was a school function and I'm a bit of a recluse. And as a result of being that recluse, I thought to myself, you know what? I think I need to be out with the people I work with. Play some golf, swung a club, and had a good time doing it. Did I do something active though? I did. I was swinging a golf club because I assure you, I was pretty sore in the middle of the week that week. By the time Tuesday came around, I was feeling it. Okay? While I did not box, I was doing something active. Does that make sense? It doesn't necessarily mean that, yeah, in the boxing world, I wasn't there. But in the fitness world, I was doing something. I didn't neglect my body for the sake of partying while there was festivities going on. I wasn't inactive. So these are the ways, these are things that changes how one's mindset goes. Once you start looking at physical activity as a challenge, and yes, you might be in pain. You might be tired. You might be exhausted. Am I telling you to neglect your job? No, absolutely not. I would not tell anybody to neglect their job in order to quote unquote get in shape. But what I will say is that what we need to do is prioritize how we do things in order to find that time for us to say that this is when I am going to do what I'm supposed to do. No equivocations, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no negotiating this. It's going to happen. This is the time. This is the time, and nobody gets this time unless my job is forcing me to. unless a family function is forcing me to. I'm not telling you miss your daughter's recital. I'm not telling you to miss your daughter's game. I'm not telling you to miss your son's art projects or science fair. What I'm saying is, if you know it's coming, you can work around it. Yeah, you normally work out at 6 o'clock in the evening and your kid's basketball game starts at 6:30. So guess what? Either you get up early and go work out that day and then go to your child's game and do your thing and then get home and get everything ready for tomorrow so that way you can be ready for your entire day tomorrow. Or you go to the game, send your kid home with dad, sister, brother, cousins, auntie, mom, and you go to the gym after the game. But your plan should be revolved around, what am I going to do about getting to the gym? Because the gym is my lifeline. The food is my fuel. The food is not to be trifled with because it affects how I think, it affects how I feel, and it affects how I participate in my everyday life. If you constantly going from high to low, high to low, high to low, this is your sugar levels, guess what? You're going to be exhausted and tired. You're not going to want to move. You're not going to want to do anything. You're just going to lay there. And guess what happens when you lay there with a surplus of energy in your system? You get fatter. It's just that simple. When you ingest food and you don't do anything to burn it off, you get fatter. If you have a sedentary job, as mine tends to be at times, guess what? I'm going to get fatter. If you haven't noticed, I'm a little bit leaner than I have been. Why? Because I've changed the way I eat and I've changed my activity levels since the injury. Injuries, actually. Do me a favor, if you're watching this right now, go ahead and click the like button so that way everybody in the YouTube land will turn around and wonder what is going on over here that everybody's liking it. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to give them to me now because I have a few other things that I want to talk about, but I want to answer some of your questions and I want to address some of your concerns at this point in time. Also, like I said, I have a plan eventually to where I'll begin to accept callers on the show. And we will get on and we'll do our thing. So, when you have a mindset, it's you don't get this mindset overnight. It's no different than when I tell my students when they're behind on their learning strategies. Just because you got the answer wrong doesn't mean you're dumb. And what I mean by that is this. If I wrote down 4 plus 2 and you wrote down the answer 2, you might have lost your mind for a split second and thought you were subtracting. And you got the answer 2. The answer 6, but what if you wrote the answer 8? Does that mean you're dumb? No, because actually you might have been multiplying in your head. In your mind, yes, there's a plus sign that should have told you you were adding, but sometimes you might have seen things a little wrong because you were trying to rush through it, and therefore you got it wrong because You did the wrong operation. Not that you're dumb. And the same thing goes for the fitness world. Just because you overate by 200 calories doesn't mean you suck. Just because you ate one donut this whole entire month doesn't mean you should just walk away from everything you've done up until now. That's a mindset shift. It's, I fucked up. Now it's time for me to hit the reset button. I didn't do what I was supposed to do here. Now it's time for me to hit the reset button. Start all over again. Hit back to the drawing board. Back to the plan. Back to what is supposed to work. Start treating all of these people around you like the men and or women that you constantly told no when they were offering you sex. Start looking at people going, oh, they're going to offer me some BS. No. They're going to want to do this with me. No. They're going to want to do that with me. No. That's not what I do. And not only that, but even if it is what you do, it is not conducive for you to be doing it right now. Think of it almost as obscene as being offered it at work. While some people do try to partake in it at work, it's unprofessional and it should be a no-go because that is weird. Just say it. Think of it that way. You know, Billy's going to turn around and ask me, do I want to drink? Bro, it's 3 o'clock. Why are we going to go for drinks at 3 o'clock? It's a little weird. Yeah, I know we're out of school, but 3 o'clock, no. Judy's going to throw some cookies and cakes at me. I'm sure of it. No. Ronnie's going to want to go grab a burger. You know, burger sounds good right about now. But however, I already had one 3 weeks ago. I already had one last week. I already had one yesterday. Not eating one today. No, Ronnie, I'm not eating another burger today. I'm going to eat my salmon with this seafood sauce with some broccoli. And I'm going to wash it all down with a sparkling water. Because I have a goal. Because I have a plan. And because I don't want to ruin the infrastructure that I've built in my intestines that is going to turn everything upside down and cause me to have the bubble guts or to turn around and have me running, you know, passing gas every 2 seconds. I have finally gotten this all under control and you want to turn around and have me mess it up for what? That's a mindset shift. It is. It doesn't mean that you're going to be a prude and sit back and be like, you know, a Big Mac has 500 calories in it and 400 milligrams of sodium. That's not conducive to my diet. We're not doing that. That's not what we're doing. It's true, but you don't have to do it. And you shouldn't eat it either. You know, you don't have to do all that. And then, as your body begins to change, as you begin to become more capable physically, as you begin to recognize the full-on power that you are in possession of, then your motivation changes now. Because now you don't want to lose it. You don't. You don't want to lose the ability to run up some steps without tripping over your feet. You don't want to lose the ability of being able to juke your husband. You don't want to lose the ability of tussling with your wife, chasing your kids, wearing a tank top, wearing a crop top, wearing booty shorts, wearing tight-fitting shirts. You don't want to lose that because you worked so hard for it. Now it is self-perpetuating. Now you're never going back because you like what the other side brings you. If you have been successful in a weight loss journey at all, I want you to stop for a moment. I want you to stop for a moment and close your eyes. Do that with me right now. Close your eyes. Think back to a time where you were at your most fit. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you're doing right now. Close your eyes and think about a time when you were most fit. Did you like what you saw? Did you like how you felt? Do me a favor, when you're done envisioning that, open your eyes, put a 1 in the chat if it's a yes, put a 2 in the chat if it's a no. I want you to do that. Now, once you have put that number in the chat, I want you to turn around and think to yourself, do you think it is beyond you? Do you think that feeling of success, that feeling of competency, the feeling of freedom is beyond you? If you say it is, I'm going to tell you it's not. It is not beyond you. It is not even close to being beyond you. Ernie Hudson is 80 years old. And that man is capable. Is he going out of his way to go run through brick walls and, chase ghosts now? No. But does he keep himself in great shape, and is he capable of doing what he needs to do when he needs to do it? You bet your sweat Bippy he is. Halle Berry is 60 years old. Do you think she is incapable of performing? I'll wait. She did a movie like a couple years ago where she's an MMA fighter. She actually went through the training. She was well in her 50s, well into her 50s. It is never beyond you. It is never beyond you. Until you are about to go into the ground, it is never beyond you. Your mindset should be to be the best version of you that you can be at all times. Are you going to fall short every now and then? Yes. Are there going to be days where you're going to wish that you could just curl up in your bed and just do nothing? Of course. And have those days. It's okay to have those days, but it should not be your life. It should never be your life. Because if it is your life, that is what you're choosing to be your life. You're choosing to not do the work. You're choosing to avoid accountability. You're choosing to avoid nutrition. You're choosing to ignore encouragement. And you're choosing to have a closed mindset. Well, guys, that's my time. I am going to head on out. My Knicks are playing. It's not why I'm heading out, but my Knicks are playing. And I gotta get ready to eat. Because like I told you, I've been making these changes. What about you? Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. Have a nice day. Be the best you. Class is Stoutt.